Welcome to Just Desserts. My name is Renee Smith, and today my guest is Jerry Butler. Welcome, Jerry.
Oh, good to be here.
I'm glad you could come. Today we're going to be talking about a game that I actually found down in my basement the other night. My niece and nephew from Oregon were here, and they are 4 and 7, and we needed a way to kind of wind them down at the end of a long day. And so I went looking for an age-appropriate game, and in my collection of games from my childhood, I found Booby Trap. And this is a game that is still actually made, but it's not. It wouldn't look exactly like this because they've gotten away from the wooden board and gone to a plastic board. But what was cool about this was my brother-in-law, who is considerably younger than my husband and myself, had never seen this game, and he thought it was fun and wanted to go find it for his kids.
I remember it from my childhood.
It was kind of fun, wasn't it? Well, the rules are really basic, but there are 3 different types of pieces to the game board. A large one, a medium-sized one, and a small piece, game piece. And they have different values for scoring. Do you? Here's the bad thing. I have long since lost the box and the directions to this game. And so I couldn't really remember what the scoring was, so I kind of just made up rules.
I like that.
You know, Renee's house,
Renee's rules. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we didn't play it correctly the other day, so we're going to talk about the real rules, but then I'm going to tell you the variation that we made up the other night because it works really well for different age children.
Oh, cool.
And so the real rules are, and I should have left them out, the large piece is worth 3, the medium piece is worth 2, and the small piece is worth 1. And the whole object is to keep the spring from jumping when you pull a piece out.
Remember that.
And so there's some science involved here because there's tension on that spring, and the way the pieces are configured, each time the game would be different. And so one of the things that is really cool about this game is the fact that there are patterns to the way the tension is. And so one of the strategies is for kids to start to look for that pattern. And so that's one of the things that makes it kind of higher level thinking. And that's why I thought, oh man, this is a really simple game, but it has some really good concepts to it as well. So what we would do is, and I moved the piece that I knew was a good piece, but I'm going to try to pull out a piece without moving that spring, and it's not supposed to move more than one of those marks, so like a 1/4 of an inch.
Okay.
And so I have to very carefully.
This isn't going to explode.
I hope not.
Okay.
Pull, and I didn't move it, and so it would be your turn, and I just scored 3 points.
Renee's rules.
Renee's rules. No, that's actually the game's rules.
Oh, okay.
So
you'll let me know when you're actually making it up and when it really is a rule, right?
Yeah, I will.
And then you were saying if I pick one, I have to just take it.
Yes,
right?
if you touch one, because you could wiggle all day and try to find the ones that were loose. So you have to look.
So there's no strategic advantage to be gained there. I'll pick this one up that's just laying loose.
Okay, so you just scored how much?
1.
1. Good. And then if I wanted to go again, I'm going to look for one I think won't make it jump, and I'm going to take a 2-point one. So now I'm up to 5. Now, if I had made it jump, the piece that I was taking would have to go in the discard. And any piece that came loose in the process would have to go in the discard. And I have to give up 3 points. Yeah, so I would have had to have given up this red one that I had earned earlier. So there's, again, some ways that if you were taking the small ones, you might still come out the winner because you were safe and strategic.
Never lost,
you didn't lose
made the thing move or whatever.
Right,
so.
And it's going to move less with one of these than it would with one of these, usually.
But one of these might be the one that's holding it all together.
Absolutely. So you have to be really careful.
A lot of thinking going on in this.
And then you just go until the game ends when there are only the number of pieces of players. So if we got down to just 2 pieces holding it, we would be done and we would count up our total.
Cool.
So again, this is good math because kids are having to learn to add.
And count them up.
Or
and they
count up.
Could group them by the different values, right?
Right, absolutely. So there's a lot of that. So what was cool about this the other night was the 4-year-old, my niece, Allie, she took 5 of the yellows. And because she's just learning to count and one-to-one correspondence, she had 5 yellows, which would have been 5 points by the real rules. But we had kind of changed the rules. But she counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which was great for her. It was great for her learning. But for Hayden, who's 7, and he's pretty advanced in math, we had kind of changed, like I said, we'd changed the rules, and I had made these worth 25, These worth 10, and these were worth 5.
Okay.
And so he counted hers and went 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and he was right as well by the scoring the way we were doing it. He was also able to do a lot of skip counting with 25s, 10s, and 5s, which is great for him. It's a skill that'll be applied to money later on. And so that was what was cool about it. So there's lots of variations. The other variation that the manufacturer recommends is that if there are more than 2 people playing, that one of the things you can do is actually put all the pieces in and start with the yellows. And everybody has to take out all the yellows.
Only pull yellows.
And then work to the blues and then to the reds.
Oh, that'd be fun.
So so there's lots of different ways you can play the game as well. What do you think?
I love it. It brings back memories.
Yeah.
I remember playing it.
Reminds us of how old we are.
I don't want to go there.
Okay. Yeah. How about if you set back up the board and I'll have my muffin?
Okay, cool.
Okay, great. Join us again for another episode of Just Desserts, and we'll see you later. You can find more information about Just Desserts on My Kids Turn.